So what is actually causing the plates to move? Well, the answer to that is convection currents. I'll write that on the board. All right, that's the answer, convection currents. You guys good? All right, well, see you guys later. Oh, okay, just kidding. We gotta dive in deeper to this. So if we look at this picture, this is modeling a cross section of the Earth. This top layer right here is the lithosphere. Remember when we did the cookie model, the lithosphere is that top, rigid, stiff layer that includes the crust and the upper layer of the mantle. It's what makes the plates. The plates are formed from the lithosphere. Below the lithosphere is the asthenosphere. This is in the mantle. And in the mantle, in the asthenosphere, the mantle material is rising up, sinking down, rising up, sinking down, and so forth. So that is a convection current. And look, here's another one going a different direction. It's rising up, sinking down, rising up, sinking down, and that process just continues. But what's causing that mantle material to rise up and sink again? Rise up and sink, rise up and sink, and so forth. Well, that's your goal today. Your goal is to get a drop of food dye to model a convection current in a beaker. Since we can't actually go to the mantle and observe the convection currents occurring to determine why they're happening or how they're happening, we're going to create a model in the classroom or virtually. So you will get a beaker. This will be used every time you test, this beaker of water. This is one thing that everybody will use in every single test that you select. I will add 1 drop of food dye when you're ready to test, and we'll see, does that test equipment that you chose, does that work to get the food dye to go down, up, sink down, and rise again to model that convection current of the rising and sinking material. So what equipment do you have available to use for this lab? Well, you can choose from a glass stirring rod, a straw, pipette, digital balance, or a hot plate. Remember, you're going to use the beaker every single time. The other equipment though, just pick one at a time. To run your test, you're going to select and move the equipment into the test space. So if you wanted to test the digital balance, you bring the digital balance into the test space and put the beaker on the digital balance. Remember, you're going to use the beaker of water in every test because that's where the drop of food dye is going to go. Once you have your equipment in the test space, you will click to test with the digital balance. When you get to the slide, it'll tell you whether it worked or not by showing you a video of the experiment being run. If it works, then that's great. You can move on to the next slide. If not, you'll just try again. So think about what would be causing the convection currents to rise up, sink, rise up, and sink down again. If you wanted to try the pipette, again, you'll always have the beaker in the test space, and you could put the pipette in the beaker and then click to test with the pipette.